the strongest morning so that you get more done by noon than most agents get done by 5. The average agent in America shows up to their office at 9:30 and they start working at 10:30, they go to lunch at noon. They come back at 1, they work till 2:30, and then they go out and drive around and look at properties. That's 2.5 to 3 hours of work per day. Not bad if you can make 100 grand working 3 hours a day. I think you can do it in being more effective. So the 4 components to a morning routine, again, as the market's changing, what you do and the way you spend your time in your morning will determine the success later. There's a couple of factors that are going to determine it, but I'm a huge fan and believer in the morning routine. So you got to do something physical, get up, do jumping jacks or push-ups. I don't care what you do. Do something to get your blood going. Drink a big glass of water first thing in the morning. Keep a bottle of water next to me so that when I wake up I can drink a bottle of water as I'm on my way to brush my teeth, right? Because the water will jumpstart your system after you've been fasting for that 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep, whatever you're getting. Do something for your mind, learn something every day. Listen to a podcast, do something to learn something new, not just about real estate. Do something for your soul and your core. If you're spiritual, pray. If you're not, meditate. If you like to do yoga and meditate, do that. It doesn't matter, just do something that aligns who you are with the values that you live with and that you live by. And then the 4th one I think is really the glue and what's going to pull all of them together and make you strong in moving through the market to make you the best agent, the best advisor or strategic partner for your clients. What are you truly grateful for? What are the affirmations that you're using? Where do you spend your time? Yeah, I'm going to go over, but I'm going to go fast. So mindset, these 3 questions. This will determine whether you're successful or not. There's a difference between a fixed mindset or a scarcity mindset, meaning the sky is falling, there's not enough deals, there's not enough inventory, interest rates are too high, all my buyers are freaking out and none of them can buy homes, versus a growth mindset that is looking at the abundance of opportunities. For the first time in 2 years, buyers don't have to write 10 offers to win because there's not 15 offers on every house. That's a huge opportunity for some buyers. Yes, the interest rates are higher. If they can qualify, they can qualify. And if they can't, they can't. We've shifted them into new areas. What do you believe to be true as it relates to mindset? Truly, internally, what do you believe to be true? It's different for all of us. What do you believe you're worth? And what do you believe you're capable of? And if you can get to some real core answers there, as we go through the sales tactics that I'm going to give you, and I'm not going to give you all 21, but they're all here and happy to share them with you. I'm going to go through the ones that I've highlighted because of time. But as we look at that, if you can get to a good mindset and an abundance mindset around the sales tactics, you can be extremely dynamic in anything you're doing. Again, we've covered most of that, but look for challenges and opportunities in the challenges. But this one's I think my favorite. We're not using the word yet enough. We don't say yet. We have a real good time at saying, I didn't accomplish what I set out to today. I didn't hit my task list today. Why don't we just flip it? I accomplished this, and I have not yet accomplished this, but I will, and here's where I'm going to do it. Again, going back to, do you run from a schedule? Do you have a system? News, I did a whole video on this that Patty and I are putting on YouTube, but headlines right now are doing more to terrify you than they are to clarify the information. It's 100% terror. It's all it is. News outlets don't get sponsorships by lower viewership. They get sponsorships by more people staying for longer. So the longer they can tie into the 60 to 80,000 negative thought processes that they have going on every day, the longer they keep you attached, the more they make in sponsorships. It's a business, right? The news is a business. Turn it off. I love Nancy, right? I didn't have insurance on here, but who are you getting information from? Where are you studying the data? Where are you reading? Who are you talking to get advice on what you should be doing? So true definition, according to the dictionary, is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. Right? 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP equals recession. This is what NBER said, National Bureau of Economic Research. A significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy lasting more than a few months, normally visible in real GDP, gross domestic product, what we produce as the US, real income, employment, industrial production, and wholesale or retail sales. Interesting, real income had some issues. There was some free money put into the economy 18 months ago. Real income has an issue. Employment has had an issue. Do we have inflation or stagflation? Well, that depends. Is inflation going to keep going and unemployment's going to continue to rise? That's a stagflation market, right? So what's really happening in employment? Industrial production. Hey, Brett, do you have any industrial production problems? Has it only been the last 2 months since the media started talking about a recession? No. We've had a builder material supply issue for over a year. So what really is a recession, right? How do we educate our clients on that? So we got all these noise words that we're hearing. Is it creating fear in us, or is it driving us to educate our clients and say, okay, that problem was there 12 months ago. What are we really doing about it? How are we really moving forward? I stole this from Keeping Current Matters, which is just, I'm not partial to them. It was just a great slide and I liked it, so I kept it. But they pulled the information out of CoreLogic.
Where's CoreLogic get their information?
CoreLogic gets most of their information from Fathom.
Guess where you get that information for free, guys?
Yeah, you don't have to pay KCM. I have a free subscription to KCM. Well, a reduced fee to KCM, so I use them. But you get all this CoreLogic stuff. You can get all this data within the Fathom Wiki, right? And through the social media platforms and through the whatever the name of it is that they own, the data company we own. So, but here's what's interesting. 19% decline in this recession. When was the highest affordability of houses?
2014?
12.
12?
2.9 million foreclosed homes on the market in 2012, the most affordable market. 4 years. So what am I telling, can I keep going?
Yeah.
What am I telling people that I coach or that I work with? Interest rates are at 6.25. Still good time to buy a house at 6.25? If you can afford it, if you can afford the payment, if you can debt service and qualify for the loan, it's a great time, because guess what's going to happen? 4 or 5 years from now, those rates are probably going to come back down here, and as soon as that happens, your values are going to go back up, because you're going to enter a whole bunch of people into the market, and they're going to overpay for homes again, right? But at 20%, there was no lending standards here. I bought a home right here, 2006, stated income, stated asset, no document verification. What if I made no money? What if I was unemployed?
A lot of people were.
And you could go get a $300,000 mortgage that fast, right? So this is why, again, I'm using that data to support why I don't think we're in a crisis for housing. I think that it's more of an adjustment, and we're moving people back into the price points where they really can afford. So I ripped all this data off. You can Google it all. Brian Williams, Brevet Group, gave 21 sales stats. And I found a bunch of them interesting, because a bunch of them applied to me. That's why I found them interesting. 92% of all of our customer interactions happen on the phone. Again, I've italicized and underlined the ones I'm going to hit. 30 to 50% of the sales go to the person who responds first when they raise their hand and say, I'm interested in information. Half. So if you're buying leads and you're not responding to them, half of those people are going to whoever picks up the phone and calls them next. If you're buying leads and not calling them, stop buying leads and find a different solution, because it's just a waste of money at that point. 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups after that initial meeting, whether it's just you had a conversation, you met them in the store, you talked to them on the phone, they hit your website, right? They require 5. And most salespeople, not just real estate agents, most salespeople quit after 1 follow-up. So you're taking and saying, okay, I want all these clients, but I'm only willing to talk to 20% of them. I'm not willing to talk to the rest of them. 44% of reps, sorry, what did I say, 50%? 44, about half follow up after, they drop it after 1. I didn't italicize that, but it's a fascinating number. 13% of all the jobs in the US are full-time sales related. Email, 40 times better at acquiring new customers than Facebook or Twitter. Now I'm going to qualify this one for you. Email is not Google, meaning Gmail. It's not Outlook. It's not Stamp for those of us that are Mac users, right? This is an ESP, MailChimp, Constant Contact, BombBomb, some of those they're specifically an ESP. If you email 1,000 people out of your Gmail account, you're going to get flagged as spam and nobody's going to see it. So you've got to go and subscribe or get a free subscription and try it with an email service provider. Not very expensive. I think Constant Contact's like $200 a year. Send as many emails as you want through it. I don't know what we pay for Bomb. I think it's 500 or 700 bucks a year. And that's video-based email. 12, 13, 14, these next couple are again fascinating numbers to me because we're in a referral business. All of us will say the very best thank you or the very best gift is a referral, right? And you're going to be 4 to 5 times higher in your earnings if you ask for referrals than those that don't. But this is the fascinating part. 91% of customers said that they would give a referral to the person that they worked with, and only 11% of the salespeople actually asked for one. And I don't believe that that's, you're sitting at the closing table and you say, hey, will you refer your friends and family? I think it starts at the initial consultation. Once we show you this awesome experience, we want you to share it with everybody, right? We're not multi-level. It's not, hey, make a list of 10 people and invite them over to my house for cake. No, just have a good experience and ask for it. 13% of customers that were surveyed by Brevet said that they believe the salesperson understands their needs. So that's a scary, scary number for me. You've probably all, I know you have because we've talked about it, worked with agents that you're going, do they even know what they're doing? Right? I'm in a contract with them and we're representing a transaction, and do they really even know? And 55% of people that are making their living at sales are not fully qualified to do so. It doesn't mean they can't be, they just haven't gone and gotten the education, spent the time to learn what really needs to happen to be fully qualified in sales. Again, we did a video, went over the whole thing. 10 months or more for a new sales rep. So if you've been licensed less than 10 months, don't be beating yourself up. 10 months or more to get to full productivity. If you're looking to grow a team, understand that they're not going to come in and be you day one. Nobody is, right? You've got to allow that time to nurture. Number 21 is the one that why I mentioned Rich, right? Being the color for my comments, because I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you. But if you think back to what sells you and where you lean into somebody, 63% of attendees at any presentation or event are going to remember the stories, while only 5% of you are going to remember the stats. So I'm giving you lots of stats, so I don't expect any of you to remember it. But I'm going to give you a couple of stories that hopefully will jog you and make you remember. Who's your coach? Who's your mentor? I'm not saying I want to be your coach. And I don't think Brett should be. I think Brett should be your broker. He's here to be that role. I don't know that, unless you want to be their coach and mentor, but you need to have people in your life who you can get help from, and that they're on your team and they're helping you grow. That's not always the same person. Any of you football fans? Okay, you know who Aaron Donald is? What did he do at the end of the Super Bowl? Do you remember? He did it on camera.
I don't remember.
He went like this. He tapped his ring finger. Because he hadn't won a ring, right? That's why he went to LA, was because they basically bought that team and built it up with money so that they could go and win. But I remember him doing that, and then when I was told this experience, it made a whole lot more sense to me. So he did that. And that was a signal to his coach that we did it. Anybody know who Aaron Donald's coach is? Who his personal coach is? Okay? It's not me.
Tom Ferry.
If you were looking, it's not Tom either. Okay, Kobe Bryant had the same personal coach. And his coach said the biggest problem with Kobe is he couldn't get him out of the gym. He literally one night went back and padlocked the gym shut, because when he got back, Kobe had gone back and was in the gym after he had worked out for 6 hours. He wouldn't quit. And you get to a point where if you're doing that, you're hitting a diminishing returns, right? You're going too far. He mentioned that Kobe was always the first on the court and the last to leave. And he asked him one day, he said, why, before games, he said, why is that? He said, because every player that comes out from that other team and walks onto that court, I want them to know I'm going to go harder and faster and longer than they're ever going to make it. The game started well before tip-off for Kobe. The coach's name is Tim Grover. I had the opportunity to meet with Tim. I've met him a couple of times at a couple of different events, but I had some time to spend one-on-one with him. Fascinating guy. Amazing coach. But I pulled some of these, and I've got one more player that he coached. But he said, and this is just my notes, right? This is out of my notes from when I went back and jogged down that we were talking about. But everyone's looking for next, and they're not ready for next. So he said there's 3 things. You have to master the concept, then you have to master the application, and then you can master the execution. So this popped into my head when Brett called the other day, and I thought, how do we take from all the noise and what's going on in market share, and how do we get more market share, and how do we execute, and how do we pivot in the period of time that we're living in as the market's changing around us? Well, what's the concept? CRM, schedule, office meetings, making phone calls, talking to clients. What's the application? Again, where are we logging it? How are we doing it? What are we following through with? And then the execution is actually closing the deals. We all want to jump right to closing the deals, but we don't realize that there's this process we have to go through as the market pivots, learn the market, study the market. I spend 30 minutes a day. I would encourage you to do the same, looking at the MLS. If you're on vacation, please don't look at the MLS. You should be on vacation. 30 minutes in the morning, just find out what's going on within the MLS, what's changing, what price reductions are you seeing and why? What's that information telling you as you move forward? We want to go to execution. We talked about that. A couple more things from him. He said it's not about time, it's about focus. And then the bill that regret gives you, and I've inverted this intentionally. That's why I paused, because I was thinking, why did I invert that? And then I realized why I did, because the next one's the one that I really want to hit on. The bill that regret gives you is generational. Who breaks the cycle? Somebody in every generation will have to pattern interrupt. Do we pattern interrupt the market? Does Fathom agents in Cedar pattern interrupt what's happening in the market? Do we start educating our past clients and our current clients at a level that they start referring us at a higher rate of referral, because there's comfort and there's certainty and there's assurance that, yeah, things are changing. They always are changing. How do we help them get to where they want to be and strategically accomplish what they want? This was my favorite quote from Tim. He said, if you think that the price of winning is too high, wait until regret delivers the bill. Because we can all wait. We can all just stagnate and go, interest rates are high. I'm going to hold up. Yeah, we can all do that. Or we can lean into, how do we help the client understand how to leverage that rate? How do we go and meet with our lenders and our partners and learn, how does a 3-1 or a 5-1 arm right now help our clients? Really bad tool if they don't know what they're doing and they just go into it because it's a low interest rate and they over-obligate themselves in 10 different ways. But a really powerful tool for somebody to get a lower interest rate if we really believe that over the next 5-year cycle, interest rates will drop back down and they can rate and term into a lower rate. Right? So what are the tools that we're using? How do we educate ourselves on that to be able to grow it? So one more thought about Tim. Tim's first major league NBA professional athlete that he coached, and that was Aaron Donald, right? His last one, this most recent one, Aaron Donald was saying, and we got that right. But his very first one was Michael Jordan. He tried to go after Michael for a while, and he didn't get him, and then finally he got correspondence back from Michael Jordan that he wanted to talk to him about coaching. So Tim went in and started coaching Michael Jordan. 3 years, and he hadn't been paid. He coached him for 3 years. Hadn't been paid. One day Michael said, Tim, I don't ever write you a check. Like, what do I owe you? And Tim's answer was, why don't you just pay me what you think I'm worth? Michael went upstairs, went to his office, got a check, put it in an envelope, came back down, handed him the check. Tim said he never looked at the check. He gave it to his parents, and he said it must have been pretty big because my parents paid off their house and started buying all sorts of new stuff. So it must have been quite a bit of money. Well, before Michael retired, he was asked about Tim Grover. And he said, I don't pay Grover to coach me. I pay him not to coach anyone else. So the difference is his mindset. He knew he was great. He knew he was successful. But he still had that mentor, he still had that coach to help guide him, but to not let him go and make somebody else as great as he was. So the money, and I did that specifically in 7 different letters with a few numbers in there, is in, the money that you generate in your business is in direct proportion to the value that you generate and create in your business. If you want to be more successful, how do you create more value? If the market's moving, how do you create value? Brett's talked about short form video, one of my weaknesses. TikTok's one of my weaknesses. I'm old enough that I'm on the back end of Gen X, but I'm right on the front end of millennial, and I don't know how to transition. I'm stuck,
Get a coach.
right? I need a coach to get me to transition. I have one that's pushing me on video, which is why Patty's now here all of a sudden, all the time, right? Because we're being pushed on that. What are you doing to generate more value to the people that you serve so that you can help them? So, pivoting market, what's moving around you? What questions do you have, and where do you want to spend time dissecting all of it? None. We covered it.